calm in the storms. She pulled the jacket off the hanger and wrapped it around her as she tried to sleep. But no matter how much she tried, the sleep wouldn't come. Tonight, like other nights, sleep was a stranger. The jacket felt and smelled like him. The smell brought him closer as she covered herself on the bed. All she could do was cry. The memories of him flooded her like a river. She can't remember what it was like to have a mother. Her mother died when she was barely 4, but she has no memories of her. When she started going to school, she always felt different from the other kids in her class. Most of her mates lived with both parents. Others lived with a single mother. Some only saw their fathers on weekends. And here she was, without a mother. Growing up with her father, she had a babysitter, Juliet. Juliet was always around to pick her up from school, walk her home, help her out with her assignments, and stay with her till her father returned from work. In many ways, Juliet did all the best she could to fill in the motherly roles. Yet, Danielle was not to be satisfied. Lying in bed all through that night, with his jacket wrapped round her, she could almost imagine him with her in that room, holding her tight in the warmth of his embrace as she inhales the smell of his cologne. She wasn't fully ready to wake up when her stepmother walked into her room and woke her up. This was her 3rd day in Amsterdam. When Angela, her stepmother, called her 5 days ago to inform her that her father was missing, she didn't hesitate to catch the next available flight to Amsterdam. The Lawrence were her lifesaver. They gave her most of the money she used to purchase her air ticket. A call came in from the security company we were at yesterday. They asked that we come to the office today by 9 a.m. for a meeting. Why? Danielle asked. She was trying to sit up and squinted at the daylight that was streaming into her room through the glass window panes. Did they say they found anything? They didn't say. They only mentioned that they have stumbled on some piece of information that may be useful in the search for your father. I hope that piece of information doesn't take us to the morgue again. I barely survived that place yesterday. They had made a trip to the morgue yesterday to see if there was anybody that could be her father. She vomited all through their way back home. No, not at all. I made sure I asked about that, but they never hinted at any detail outside this. We need to get moving. We hardly have enough time to grab some breakfast. I sense that today will be a long day too, but I'm positive, Angela added. In no time, Danielle was all dressed up. They both ate their breakfast of poached eggs and coffee in a hurry. Before long, they were walking into the office of the investigation department of the Netherlands Police Headquarters. In another few minutes, they were ushered into a small office. Sitting behind a large desk, with a pile of papers scattered all over, was a thin man they had met a day before. He spoke with a baritone that reminded Danielle of Bruce back in the US. He was in charge of the investigation. The name tag on his desk read Levi Rubin. On a swivel chair by the corner of the office was another man, stout and clean-shaven. Mr. Levi reached out to them, shaking their hands without any sign of affection. "We have made some progress," he began. He looked at Angela with a straight face and continued, "We believe your husband was kidnapped." "Oh my God," was all Angela managed to say. "By who? Why? Where?" Danielle asked, with fear written all over her face. "Right now, that's all the information we have, but we will need you to sign some forms." Levi wasn't even batting his eyelids. "What forms?" Angela asked. The other officer, who sat at the corner without saying any word all the while, walked up to the desk with some papers. He also dropped a pen beside them. "We are seeking your permission, should the opportunity arise, to plan and execute a rescue operation." There was so much authority in the way that the unnamed man spoke. "Why? Why do you think this is necessary?" Daniel asked. "Where is he? What do you think has happened to him?" Mr. Levi sighed. "Truly, we cannot be so certain about anything right now, but it will be wise that we get your permission now, so we wouldn't hesitate to act accordingly when the opportunity presents itself." "But why do you think anyone would want my father?" As much as she was trying hard to control herself from crying, her voice carried fears that betrayed her feigned confidence and control. The nameless officer volunteered the answer to the question. "Incidences of kidnapping are becoming commonplace in this part of the world, especially with Western and American expatriates. This is because the kidnappers believe that men like your father have access to resources and information that others do not have. But do you think my father is still alive? Have they hurt him? We do not have any of these details. From our experience with these kind of things, most of the victims do not survive, especially because most of the kidnappers are extremists." Daniel wanted to cry, or scream, or throw something, or even bang on the desk in front of her. Yet, each time she looks at Angela, she is amazed by how calm and collected she appears. How does one maintain their composure in the midst of such news? She watched her, Angela, her stepmom, spoke in a measured tone, her voice never quivering, stammering, or cracking with emotion. "I really want to have what she has that makes her this calm," Daniel thought as they drove back to the house, after all of the paperwork and deliberations with the investigation team. At night, while Daniel struggled with another sleepless night, she heard Angela praying from the next room. "Dear Jesus, I trust you even in the midst of this storm. I will not fear because I know wherever my husband is, I know you are with him. Grant us, me and Daniel, that peace that surpasses all understanding. The same one you always give me. I know you will do this." Daniel drifted into a deep sleep even before the prayer was over. The prayer must have had an effect on her already. In her dream, she saw her father freeing himself from shackles that were wound round his legs. Then he started running towards her. She was a child again, and as he scooped her into his arms, with tears streaming down his face and Angela smiling beside her.